Good day, beautiful people. We are here today because we're going to be talking to an amazing mental health professional today. And so I don't want to take up too much time. I just want to bring Tracey more on so that you can understand what she does and what is important about mental health. And of course, the Just Me Therapy podcast. So I'm Chisa Penix Brown. I'll be your host as we explore the background to tell you about the three different mental health professionals that bring this podcast together. And I'm very excited for you to meet Tracey more. So let's bring her on. Tracey. Hey
Hey,
there.
Miss Brown, how are you? Good to see
I
you.
am wonderful. Yes, good to see you too. So, when we talk about mental health, what made you even get into this profession in the first place? And then we'll delve into a little bit of your background. But what made you say, you know what, this is the career for me?
Actually, it's one of those things that find you when you're not looking for it. And when I say my life kind of pushed me to here, that now that I'm here, I notice what I'm supposed to do because I've been doing it all my life. So it really doesn't feel like work. So it's just
Okay.
something I've always done, and now it comes with a little check every now and then. But the just the pleasure is just something that is just something that's been a part of me. So it really never feels like work, and I've
Okay.
this is something I've always done professionally. That's where I'm at
Okay.
now from a new career.
Yes. Now, just tell us about some of your past experiences with your old career.
Okay, so I was in the military. I actually joined the military right after high school at 18, and I did 33 years. So when I retired back in 2018, I've just fell into the mental health. I went to school at Liberty University, so my background is in marriage and family
Okay.
therapy. I got my life coaching. I've been done that for about 2 years now. I am licensing this year. I do my licensure for my MFT this
Mhm.
year. And just with the military, I'll get 33 years. You get a whole lot of
Okay.
counseling in them 33 years.
Wow. Okay. And so, what was it like transitioning from the military and then going into the mental health profession? Because one thing that I know about the military is, and then not to be on a sad side of things, but you always see where there are a high rate of suicide. You see that there is a lot of PTSD that happens because of the experiences that people go through. And so, I've never been in the military, but having a husband whose father was in the military and who has a sister whose husband is still in the military. He has a niece that's in the military now. So from that perspective, I'm used to being, around it from that way. But for people who don't necessarily know, maybe what is some of the things that possibly said, okay, well, look, I'm transitioning from this and I see that people need help. And what made you focus in that particular area as far as like marriage?
Oh, so for me, it was just an extension of what I was already doing again for years. So with my level, I retired as a first sergeant. I did a sergeant major role, so it's kind of like the highest in the enlisted area.
Okay.
So you counsel day in and day out. That's part of your job. So the military itself, my give back to the military was me coming into the mental health just from my experience, being with a family and see the mental impact on separation, on, like you said, PTSD, the challenges within the military.
Mm-hmm.
Again, this was just an extension. And that's probably why I did the marriage portion and the family, because the impact, even on my own, being separated from my family, 7 years on deployment, I saw the impact, the mental impact coming back home. Saw the transition of, you at home, but you're a foreigner in your own home, because you have to
Mm.
make that mental adjustment. How your mindset is for the military is way different to what we call civilian life. So even making that transition, coming in or going out, seeing, I was a drill sergeant for years, and seeing the impact of what came in
Mm-hmm.
and what we had to do a good product going out. So
Mm-hmm.
always have a good thing about family, love family. I love my family and
Mm-hmm.
just support, so that family unit can make or break you. They say happy wife, happy life. Well, the husband got to be together too. The children got to
Yeah.
be together too. So it's just like a collective thing. So um move, fast forward, here I am, and that's kind of like the area, definitely with marriage, because of just the impact. And when two together, if one can move 10,000, two can move a whole lot more.
Definitely. Now, I like the fact that it was the way that you said it. You said something about the product, like you see what came in, and then you know what type of product that you needed to turn out. And I think that that's really a good way to look at therapy. Like the whole point is that we're coming in with our problems,
Mhm.
and it's not trying to say that you can solve everything that we have as far as the issue, but that hopefully you could maybe alleviate some of that stress. You could give us some things to cope or to deal with. And so hopefully by the time that people finish, doing therapy with you, they are a different product. So is that kind of how you might look at some of your clients? Like, look, let me help you because I know that you can be better.
Oh, most definitely. And I have this running joke within myself. Like, I don't like long-term relationships. So, you know, life hits everybody differently. And most of the time when you come to therapy, you're coming because it hits you hard. And it's just so much going on, and you're trying to figure out everything at the same time. But for me, like, I feel we all have those solutions within us, and it's
Mhm.
just a matter of unpacking it. So if I can help you change your perspective, you might see it one way, but when you start looking at it this way, it might not be as bad as you really think, because of all these other things that are happening. It might make this feel bad. And then again, just the concept from the military is a belief system. People
Mhm.
come from all walks of life, and we have to make them believe one system. And if we can get all of them people to believe these core values,
Mhm.
what's your core values? And if you believe that, I'm a soldier with or without a uniform. I'll be a
Mhm.
soldier for life. And I retired in 2018 because of
Mhm.
those core values and what I believe in. So if I operate on what I believe in, regardless of my situation, I don't
Mhm.
lose sight of who I am.
Mm. I mean, that's powerful.
Yeah.
You know what? I don't know if I ever really looked at it like that from the perspective of getting everybody to believe in the same thing. And it is a lot when people have all of these different types of backgrounds and religions and coming from different states, speaking different languages, even if you talk about the colloquialisms and, all of those type of things that you do with jargon and, just grammar, it does mean that you have to try in a way assimilate people to
Mhm.
kind of understand that this is a way to do things. And so, it's kind of interesting when you put it that way. So with your clients, getting them to kind of understand, and I would assume some of your core values then are, elicited to them, which can maybe kind of shape the way that they think about things, and then just give them a new perspective as well.
Yeah, and I don't necessarily like say I'm not going to change my core values, but they
Hmm.
might not be yours. So whatever your values are, your belief system, then that's what we move from there. And if I don't understand it, I got to get a better understanding. You might not even understand it. Like some people are choose, I believe this, I'm scared of a dog just because my mama's scared of a dog.
Hmm.
That don't really make you scared of a dog. So, and then
Hmm.
you traditionally, and we just accustomed to doing things the way others have done it because that's what we see, whether we agree or not. But if that's not what I believe and I want to make a difference, it's okay to choose you. And that's why I like that name, Just Me.
Hmm.
Like if I need to rethink or recondition what I've been used to because this is who I am, then let me be that. And these are my values. And I'm here to help support what you believe in. Now it doesn't have to match my belief.
Hmm.
I need to strengthen your belief, make sure you're doing what you're doing because that's what you believe, not what others believe or they want you to believe.
Hmm. Yeah, and I mean, I think in the way that you're doing things, especially if you talk about marriage,
Mhm.
people were brought up totally, completely different,
Mhm.
and a person may feel like being disrespected, or they may feel like this is not the way that a man or a woman is supposed to do something because of how they were brought up. So if you could just give us a little bit of insight when people have this like internal conflict in their relationships, what is something that you can do to kind of get them to see listen to each other first, right? And I would imagine that that would be one of the things, but to at least get them to understand the other person's perspective, because just, in experience with things, I would imagine that a lot of times people just aren't listening, and that's probably a bigger part of you helping them to maybe even be better communicators.
And you hit everything right on the head. It's like, get that understanding. If we respond, sometimes do we don't understand. If I understood why you woke up with a headache because
Mm-hmm.
you ate too much, you had too much sugar last night, and I know your attitude when you wake up like that. If I
Mm-hmm.
understand that, to get that better understanding. And sometimes it's just like, y'all both saying the same thing, one just hollering and one is whispering.
Mm-hmm.
Why that person responded like that. And sometimes, we go into relationships with secrets, or not necessarily secrets, that I don't want to tell them this is what happened to me when I was 14 or 15, but yet I'm operating based on past pain. So if you
Mm-hmm.
understood that I was touched inappropriately that way, that's why I don't like you to hug me. I'm not rejecting you. It's just that I still haven't dealt with somebody coming from behind me and grabbing me, because it
Mm-hmm.
puts me back into this place. And so now we get into an argument because I feel defensive or I push you away. But if you understood that, again, I say that was one of my triggers. We're not going
Mm-hmm.
to have 2 or 3 days where we're not speaking, or you
Mm-hmm.
going out to get somebody else to feel you because I can't feel you right now because I'm just in my moment. So that
Mm-hmm.
understanding and communication, and if I can get or help you to see what your other person is communicating, y'all understand the different parts of communication, because it's not always what's coming out of your mouth. You got a lot of nonverbal communication. So I can look and say, oh, this is not the time to ask that question about spending more money when I know you a
Mm-hmm.
tight wad. So it's just different things. And two coming in, you got two individuals that's coming together trying to be one. And that's kind of hard, because you was brought up a different way, he was brought up a different way. And if y'all don't talk that too, especially, I definitely believe in premarital counseling. That if you
Mm-hmm.
don't have that ahead of time, that hey, the dating part is over now. When them bills and babies come, it's a
Mm-hmm.
whole new avenue. And if you hadn't even discussed that, how are we going to educate our children? What religion they're going to do? Do we save money, or do we always spend? And it's
Mm-hmm.
different when you start trying to bring those two things together. And a lot of times you come in with a lot of expectations. Oh, they should have known. But what if
Mm-hmm.
they didn't know? And
Mm-hmm.
again, help me to understand why you act like that, why you spend a lot of money.
Yeah. And this situation that you're bringing up, I have a friend that is in a situation that's like almost completely mirrors that. And I'm sitting here listening, like, I think that a lot of times people don't recognize that they actually do need counseling. And but they continue to argue, and they might think that arguing is just a regular thing. And so a lot of times I would say, do you find that the men or the women are the one to reach out a little bit more when it comes to recognizing that there is an issue and that they're going to take the step to actually talk to a therapist?
Um, for me, it all depends on what month it is. If it's February
Uh-huh.
and you don't get what you want, then you'll get more calls. Just to me, it's like the women are more aggravated. Around the
Okay.
holidays are the things where, oh, he failed to do something.
Mm-hmm.
For the men, they when they get tired of fighting or tired of arguing, it depends
Mm-hmm.
on what their limit is. They reach out. So I've had women, men, it doesn't matter. But I've even had some like, can I do this, fill out this application for her? No, don't, it's no secret. She got to know she coming to therapy. And then
Yeah.
a lot of times, I if one person might be ready and the other person is not ready, for me
Mm-hmm.
that's still okay. They're not ready for couple counseling, but you are individual being up as part of a couple. So you
Mm-hmm.
still can go and get individual help, because guess what? When you change, they have to change, because you give them a different response. Because if you
Mm-hmm.
always yelling, they're going to yell back. But the moment you don't yell, how do I respond to not yelling? Because I'm used to you coming to me. So if you start making your own individual changes and, like, say, stop pointing a finger that way to see, okay, what am I contributing? What things can I do or not do? What issues do I have? And again, a lot of those things we project on our partner, but it's really some internal pains and things that we really hadn't dealt with. And if we fix those, man, that man or that woman be like, woo, I'm so glad you finally talked to somebody about that.
Yeah, yeah. But I think that you bring up an excellent point. Even if you are a couple, you still have to realize that you are an individual person, and you recognizing that it's something wrong with you and needing to get therapy, needing to get help, needing to have that consultation. Like, that can make a whole lot of difference, because I think oftentimes people just don't see somebody else's perspective, or you have people that it's not going to make a difference. Like, they're always right. And then sometimes you need that objective eye that you're able to give them in order to let them see where you might really not be right. This may be a different avenue, or maybe even if they are right, but maybe it's the approach, it's the tone, then maybe you can give them some type of other options to be able to express themselves that would work for their partner. Because I think that oftentimes, sometimes people are just reckless with their mouth.
Most definitely. Yeah,
That's just, and that's a problem for a lot of people. I think maybe more people would be more receptive if somebody wasn't so combative, or so defensive. And then you teaching them how to do that as individuals. Do you find, like, after a person does the individual counseling, that they start to make those changes, and then they are able to transition into couples counseling?
Oh, it's highly recommended, at least if you come and talk to me, because a lot of times within couples counseling, they try to resolve individual issues. So I have a couple come to me because we're having marital issues. My focus is on their marital issues. Within that content, if I can see, like, okay, you might need help here, my recommendation is you need to go do individual counseling, and the things that your individual counselor works on, when you bring it back within the couples counseling, you'll see that difference again. Like, if it's that attitude, if it's procrastination, whatever those things that are working individually. So now we can get this household unit to operate as one, and you still have your individualism, but you get that addressed on the outside. And that is most definitely highly recommended, because that's what it is. It's like you doing individual counseling here and here, trying to bring them together to go as one with the same goals. With the, again, if you wanted to marry yourself, you wouldn't have married somebody else. That's why you should always be you.
Yeah.
I don't like how we mimic, like, what happens at 165 should be happening at 169. Those separate people live over there. So it's good. You might can take some advice, but you got to know what works for you. And again, really look within. Is it me, or is it him? Is it him or her, or is it me? And if I can address me, then what you got to deal with, baby, you go do you. So when we come together, we can do us.
Yeah, no, I love the idea of being able to just understand what you need individually, and then you also need as a couple, because they may not necessarily be the same things, and then being able to just make that work. And I think if more people would take the approach that you're providing, it would keep a lot of marriages together. Now, have you noticed, like, some changes in the types of issues that people have come to you with since COVID happened? Because there was a higher divorce rate during that time frame. People were actually able to see, well, I really don't like this person that much. I really don't want this anymore, because they were together more. But have there been any other type of behavioral changes or things that maybe have been trends since that time frame?
For me, the issues are still the same. Now you just face with your issues. Without COVID, you had an escape. You didn't know that your husband was like this, or your wife was really a neat freak, like you can't do nothing, So but now you get forced to deal with, and it's like, I don't want all this. This is too much. And so now it's like, but I've never changed. You just never really seen a part of me. And coming together, you really got to see, you really smelled the breath in the morning. You really was like, do I really have to cook again? and then
Uh-huh.
working from home and then all of the noise and the children, you got to learn a new math, all of that. That's a lot. So
Mm-hmm.
now it's more like being overwhelmed or stressed out was there before COVID. Now you just handled it more because again, we lost our outlets. When
Mm-hmm.
COVID happened, you got forced to come into a box that you wasn't familiar with. You was like visiting. Now you had to live there. You
Mm-hmm.
had to live with her all day. You couldn't go to the boys. You couldn't go out with the girls. You had to deal with this, and it's something you wasn't accustomed to.
Mm-hmm.
So now you got to learn a new skill.
Well, I mean, honestly, I think it depends on, of course, who you were or who you are, because people may have changed during that time frame.
Mhm.
But just being able to still have that outlet, how do you feel like basically the telemedicine has been able to help more people? Because if you couldn't come to the office, you were still able to consult with your clients either over the phone or online as well, right?
Yes. So I love telehealth. Telehealth is not for everyone depending on what your concern is. So if you got, just a busybody and you can't focus, telehealth ain't gonna be good. If
Okay.
you're a child, it's highly recommended that they come in office because of that attention span, and they overwhelm with the Zoom stuff, so you get a break. Um, a lot of people didn't like coming into the office because the stigma of I'm not going into counseling. So telehealth allowed you to have that privacy at your own home and nobody got to know, that you got an appointment today. So you're at
Mm-hmm.
home. So I
Mm-hmm.
think it was like, okay, yeah, maybe I'll reach out now because nobody will see me, but I can get the help that I needed. So I love it. And it saves on gas.
It does save on gas. It definitely saves on gas. Well, I think that, just the things that you've expressed have definitely give us a lot of insight. I definitely see now why you specifically focus with the family and the marriage unit, because it is an important thing. And when we talk about just being able to continually build, having a happy home does make, anything else that's going on in the world a lot easier to deal with, because a lot of people go home to unhappy places. So if
Mhm.
the world outside is unhappy and then you got to come home to an unhappy place, that's a miserable situation. So just being able to at least have a place that is like a respite for you to be able to say, look, I can kind of control some of the things that go on. I can be nice. I can have
Mhm.
a nice situation. I think that that's, to me, one of the things that you're able to help people understand, because it's always going to be some craziness going on,
Mhm.
but the part of therapy that you're providing gives them ways to be in accordance, right, and in alignment with each other. So
Right.
I love that.
I like that.
All right, now, is there anything you'd like to leave people with, like as a note for them to consider coming to a mental health professional?
When in doubt, check it out. If you and it's just if you sit there and you got to keep questioning yourself, like, man, should I go? Like, I think something wrong with me. I have this. Then you go because you can go for free consultations, just to talk, and then say, well, you can even online. It's like different assessments that you can take, like stress or whatever. And if you score high on one of those assessments, then just go talk to somebody, whether it's a therapist or your primary care, to be like,
Mhm,
look, I have a lot going on. What you recommend? And some
mhm.
medication is not for everybody, but that self-talk and just being able to get some of those things off of your chest and out of your mind is a stress reliever, whether it's a therapist or a best friend. You need to get it out. So when in doubt, just check it out.
Yeah. And I mean, that's one of the reasons why you guys started the podcast in the first
Mhm.
place, to be able to help people. And so, what would you say is your favorite, like moment so far in doing the Just Me Therapy podcast?
The favorite episode or moment when we actually was like in the park. I like getting out in the community and meeting people and just seeing you and allowing them to see me and my
Hmm.
true self. I think you should be true to yourself, whoever you are, whatever you are, to always be you. And if you can talk from that basis, not trying to be anybody else, I just love to connect. When we were out in the park, oh, I love that. That
Hmm.
was just to meet and really see the faces, and we got like some feedback, like whether it helped or not, or yeah, I'm interested in that. So that's just amazing to me. I like the connect. I like the connect.
I love that. All right. Well, Tracey, I want to thank you so much for sharing your time with us and giving us some insight into, your way of doing therapy. And then also just telling us to really be ourselves at every moment that we could possibly be
Mhm.
ourselves, because we can't really be anybody else.
That's right.
So
I'm already taken.
that's what I'm saying. Like that's what people really need to know. And so they don't need to put on any airs when they come to therapy. Be yourself and bring your full self to therapy.
Right. Yeah, most definitely. Because you're going to get it here. It's just me.
Definitely. And I love that realness. You know that. All right. Well, thank you so much. And we're going to end this episode, but now you can check out Tracey, and then you can continue to listen to the Just Me Therapy podcast, and just go to justmetherapy.com, and you will be able to listen to past episodes, and new episodes are coming soon.
All right, Miss Chisholm. Bye. Thank you.
Bye. Thank you. Now, Tracey.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Something happened with my computer. It looks like it's still recording.
Yes,
I'm just
ma'am.
having the most technical difficulties. This has never happened before. But what I did was I recorded most of it on my phone too. So the audio is there. So it looks like it's still recording. So I'm going to have to probably shut it down, and more than likely it'll go ahead and save. And I'm really hoping it saves, because I couldn't see you most of the time. I can't even see myself. My screen is like this orange screen.
Oh,
I don't know what's
you're
happening
clear.
today.
Yeah, what I see is all the way clear. I see you clear. I see me
Okay.
clear. I can see the live timer going on. So
Okay.
everything's
Good.
working out here. It's just that rain cloud that's over your building.
It's something
That's
going
what it
on.
is. That's what
But,
it is.
but something was going on with my phone this morning. I can't see the stuff on my phone. So what I'm gonna do is have to cut this video just so you don't hear all of the rest of this.
Okay.
And then hopefully it should work out like it's supposed to. But like I said, if nothing else, we still do have the recording that I have on the phone of the audio too. So I'm hoping everything will work out fine. But I'm gonna have to shut it down and do that. But this was a great interview. I just want to tell you.
Okay. All right, boss lady. We with you.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Well, have a good day.
You too.
All right. Bye. Oh, come on, buddy. Can't even. Please